Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So in this video, I want to talk about what I think is the most neglected topic in the velocity banking space on YouTube. In fact, one of my biggest problems about the YouTube velocity banking space is just how oversimplified the concept is, and not enough nuance is talked about. And sometimes, if you talk too much about nuance, that actually is going to detract your audience because your audience, would rather eat donuts than their vegetables, right? Rather eat fast food than their vegetables, and that's kind of sad. But again, I want to make sure that you understand the concept to the best of your ability. And so when I see things like, oh, replace a low interest rate mortgage with a first lien HELOC, folks, I've done the comparisons to this channel plenty of times. And I've shown, like, hey, if you do a first lien HELOC, you're actually going to pay $100,000 more than necessary than if you just use a second lien HELOC, right? In fact, even in the book from Australia, Harsh Gill, where he talks about paying off your mortgage quickly, he actually has a specific section. He was the guy who originated the velocity banking concept from Australia. He was like, it's much better just to do a second lien HELOC than the first lien HELOC. And this was back in 2003, folks, before it got popularized on YouTube. And so when I see that, I'm just kind of like face palming, thinking like, I've seen, every time I do demonstrations, I'm pretty sure some of you can vouch for me, the mortgage gets paid off usually in 4 to 7 years, right? And I've seen demonstrations on YouTube where people like advocating for a first lien HELOC, and it would take them 16 years to pay it off. Like 16 years, that's like everything in my demonstration. It means like everything went wrong for you. You know what I'm saying? That's what 16 years would mean. 16 years would be a failure. And this is from speaking from perspective of somebody who paid off a mortgage under 3 years. Okay, so what is the most neglected topic in the velocity banking space? I think it's just the basic concept of debt payoff order. Now, if you have 1 to 3 debts, it's a relatively easy thing to kind of figure out just by the fact that you'll probably take, again, either the lowest balance, highest interest rate, and highest payments in a combination of three. But this is something that someone had sent me about a long time ago, about a year ago, and I was just blown away. Like, how do you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 debts, and you're almost broke, right? Like, how is this even possible? And so when I see this, I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed, right? And we even got a HELOC in the mix. In fact, we have a $49,000 balance on the HELOC and a $49,000 line of credit limit with only $178. And this was like my light bulb moment of how important debt payoff order is and why we have to do it as efficiently as possible, right? And this person actually had $4,000 of debt, $2,500 in just general expenses, and was only about $1,000 in savings, right? And so when you're in that position and you're doing velocity banking, it's like you're looking at this like, how do you know what to do, right? And this is where debt payoff order is incredibly important. And this is why I'm a true advocate of the cash flow index system, right? So if you don't know what the cash flow index system is, it's a system created by Garrett Gunderson where all it is a formula of the loan balance divided by the minimum monthly payment, right? So let me just kind of demonstrate how that would work. So I'll just add a column here, insert the column to the left. And this is a real life scenario. Like, somebody actually sent me this, and I was blown away that this was actually real, because in my mind, these people were kind of hypotheticals until people started sending these to me. So if you take a look here, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this formula. And let me actually do this, format the cells, so that instead of doing currency, I don't want a currency, I just want none, 2 decimal places, all right? So what this is, it's a ranking system of how much cash flow you get for paying off the loan. So for example, if I pay off this $150,000 loan, I only get $1,250 in my cash flow, which is not a good bang for my buck. So the lower the number, you get more cash flow for paying it off. And the beauty of doing this in Excel, right? Huge advocate of Excel is if I do sort descending, right? Let's just do that. Then I get to know which ones I pay off first and how to immediately increase my cash flow. So if I pay this $269 off, I get $30 back in my cash flow. $726 put it in my line of credit, I get $45 in my cash flow. And then so it just becomes a game of increasing your cash flow by making sure that you pay it off correctly. And as you can see here, it's almost like the balance is from the largest to the smallest, but not necessarily, because we got a $2,000 a loan, or it looks like, I don't know if it's a loan or a credit card, but it's only $65 here, and so it's worth it to us to immediately pay off these to get the cash flow back. And so I think this is what's missing with a lot of uh, YouTube videos. I'm not gonna lie, and I have seen it mentioned. I have seen this mentioned in other YouTube videos, but I always like to think of this as a debt payoff order, right? This is the easiest way, because remember, before we did this cash flow index, right, formula, and you take a look at this, all right, let's just do that. How would you know which ones to pay off? This is so overwhelming, right? This is incredibly overwhelming. What the name of the game is when it comes to velocity banking is that if you know how to put these all in the right order and increase your cash flow the most efficiently, you will have a much easier time to pay off debt. Whereas, most people, they just get overwhelmed by this. And I don't know if you know this, but making things easy for you to pay off debt has an incredible value, right? It's kind of like the difference between going to the gym in New Year's versus going at a time when you actually need it, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but when you go in New Year's, you're not going to pay off, I'm sorry, you're not going to go to the gym just because the conditions aren't there for you to easily go to the gym compared to other times of the year when you're actually more motivated. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Okay, so before I end this video for today, right? I actually did a live stream on this, but I want to point out another scenario here. Eliminating 22 deaths. This was a crazy one, okay? So someone had sent me this real life case study. It was their actual finances, and it was 22 debts and $4 left over. So this is only for YouTube channel members. So if you want access to this live stream, go ahead and make sure that you do join the channel. But I just want to kind of just point out that this was 1 hour and 30 minutes just going over this. And it was crazy, right? And actually, let me just kind of show you here what happened. So, real life case study, 22 debts, $5,400 in income, and literally $4 in savings. It was just one of the most mind blowing things that I had ever seen. Hold on, let me just do this. Yeah, so let me go back here. Yeah, so take a look at this, $4 in savings, and I was just so blown away by this. But again, this person, amazing, right? This person did the cash flow index and figured it out, did 95% of the work and just wanted me to complete or just do a demo of how to pay off that debt. But this is really important because if we pay off the debt in an efficient order, that could essentially be the difference between saving $100,000 of interest payments versus overpaying $100,000 of interest payments versus not overpaying, right? But if you are interested in that, then just join the YouTube channel. Like there's a join button right here, and you could see this live stream. We went an hour and 30 minutes for this, right? So again, this is probably the most neglected part of velocity banking, understanding of which debts to pay off in which order, right? And so if you know how to do that, then your life becomes much easier. I'm not going to do any velocity banking demonstrations for today. We'll just make it easy for today since I already kind of did a video on this. But I actually did a live stream on this. This is like one of my first live streams that I ever did. I don't know if I could have done it better, but who knows? Maybe I'll try it for you all Again, in a non-paid video, right? Just because like it's been over a year when I did this live stream, and you know how it is. It's like when a movie releases, that's when you charge the most, and then when some time has passed, you just kind of release it for free or at a lower cost, right? Okay, well, all right, that's it for today, everybody. So have a great day. It's Korean Lanta Mentorship, and we'll speak next time.